What's going on, guys? It is MurderInc back with another champion spotlight video. Today we're going to be talking about the orc support legendary Warlord. He's void, he's awesome, so let's get right into his skills and what exactly this legendary does. We have an A1 like Septimus, like Vizier, who extends the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn, has a 25% chance when booked all the way up to a 40% chance to extend. Now, he's definitely not the best extender. Vizier will forever hold that title. However, there are some interesting things that this champion can do. Moving on to his A2, he places a shield buff equal to 30% of his maximum health, heals everybody for 25% of their health, and places a block debuff on all allies for 1 turn. So the fact that this is 1 turn, this definitely has some interaction with the clan boss, but we will go over that when we get to the clan boss section. This is a 3-turn cooldown, down from a 4-turn if you choose to fully book this champion. Now let's get into his A3, which is probably the best and most unique part of his kit. Attacks all enemies, has a 70 up to 100% chance to put each target's skill completely on cooldown, as well as having a 30 up to a 60% chance to fully deplete each target's turn meter. Now this is huge. This is a 5-turn cooldown once fully booked. There's a lot of potential here with this champion, and for every content outside of clan boss, this A3 here is really unique and has a lot of use. Moving on to his aura, he increases ally resistance in all battles by 50. So now the first place we're going to talk about Warlord as a champion is going to be the arena. He's an absolute powerhouse in the arena with his interactions with the A3 and the A2. Really quickly showing you how I geared my Warlord for the arena. 66,000 health. So you definitely want a lot of health based on that A2 shield that he does apply to the rest of your team. 244 speed, nothing crazy there. Crit rate, crit damage doesn't really matter to me because I'm not looking to get damage out of him. And we do see 380 accuracy as well as 348 resistance. As far as masteries, these are in fact the masteries I would recommend if you want to use him in the arena. I've been running this for a while. We have the chance to extend that shield on him as well as the block debuff. Also, increased accuracy is always good. It gives you that edge up over anyone who is building some resistance. Now, one of the most important things when talking about Warlord is how does his AI work? And as you can expect, he actually does use his A2 first, but there are some situations where he will actually opt to use the A3. Ideally, you want the A3 first because as we read from the skill kit earlier, this takes everyone's cooldowns on their enemy team. So looking at this, we have a Sifi, double Rhodos, Chris. We really want all of their powerful cooldowns to be up as if they just used them as soon as we enter this fight, or they could be a real problem. So there are a few ways to do this. The first, easier way, not the way I'm going to show you, is to run someone like a Duchess or anyone who applies block debuff to your entire team. Once the AI picks up when it's Warlord's turn that block debuff is on the entire team, you will opt to use that A3 and wait for block debuff to fall off before using that heal and shield from his A2 that also provides the same buff. As we can see here, I am not using a Duchess, but I'm going to show you how this also works on auto if you choose to go this route. I actually have Arbiter being my fast champion in an immunity set. Now this is a really cool interaction as far as how Warlord works. He's actually going to pick up that one of the champions on his team already has a buff that he has the ability to apply. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to use that A3 ability to lock out their cooldowns simply because one champion has an immunity set. Now I have heard of people saying they've tried one immunity set and it hasn't worked. However, I've never heard of someone saying it fails if 2 champions have an immunity set. So what I would personally do to make sure you have 100% success, because I haven't really worked out why it works with one champion and why it doesn't sometimes. I can tell you with Arbiter here, you're going to see once I hit auto, he's going to open with that A3 ability right there, which is really cool. All of their abilities are now on cooldown, so we can just defense down and weaken their team. Use Trunda with that A2 in an awesome battle we just had there. Now there's definitely some benefit to having Warlord use that A2 first instead of the A3. However, it's most likely you're gonna want to have the A3 used first, since his A2 not only provides a shield but also heals. What you want to do when looking at any champion is get maximum efficiency out of his kit. So if he uses his A2 first, he's healing everyone who's already at full health unless the enemy team went first. And usually when fighting in arena, you're always assuming you're going first unless you have a strategy that revolves around you going second. If you have a strategy where you are going second, it's probably best to have your Warlord use that A2 first to heal and shield your team, since the major cooldowns on the enemy team were already used since they did in fact go first. So now that we went over how strong Warlord can actually be in the arena, let's go over Clan Boss. As we know, Warlord's A2 provides a block debuff for 1 turn. So if you would like to use this champion in the Clan Boss, I highly recommend using him with a counterattack champion. The fact that he extends with this A1 is really strong, but it definitely loses value since he does have an A3 ability that is non-essential to the Clan Boss, so he's not getting as many turns in with that A1 without a counterattack. Adding a counterattack increases the chances that Warlord has personally to extend the debuffs as often as possible. The only thing that's problematic with Warlord in some type of counterattack team is the fact that to get full use out of his A2, you need him going last in the team. Now, as you can probably assume, he goes last because he only has a 1 turn duration on that block debuff, so you want him using it right before the stun, making sure whoever gets stunned has the block debuff from Warlord active on them at all times. If you make your counterattack champion last, that champion won't be protected, and if it gets stuns, it will desync your entire team, and honestly nobody wants that to happen. So I strongly recommend, if you want to use him for the Clan Boss, build him with a decent amount of health. Don't focus too much on the shield. It will be active for that first AoE if he's going last, so you do get a double benefit there where you get a shield on the AoE 1 and you also get block debuffs preventing the stun. However, this does not prevent you from suffering from affinities unless you have some type of buff extender like a Sandlash Survivor, where Warlord will go last at the end of AoE 2, then Sandlash will be going, extending the buffs so it lasts all the way through to that stun. Usually I do show a damage showcase. Unfortunately, Warlord is one of the champions that does not hit very hard. His A3 can hit decently hard, but this is one champion for the first time that I decided it's not worth putting him in insane gear to build him for damage, because his utility is so strong as a champion that you really would never waste building this guy full damage. Now let's talk about dungeons, because this guy's an absolute monster in dungeons. If you pulled this guy and you're still progressing, you pretty much hit the lottery. That A3 is absolutely huge when trying to progress through waves. Everyone knows that the second wave of Dragon is extremely difficult. This champion is Void, so he has no weak affinities. So if you can make it to that second stage, have Warlord use his A3 there, you're holding that entire wave to only using A1s, allowing your team to cycle through 2 times without suffering from any real threat from any of the champions in that wave, which overall improves your success rate a ton. This can be applied to any single dungeon you can think of, because as mentioned before, he is Void, he has no weak affinities, so his value in dungeons is absolutely through the roof. As always, any champion that is good in dungeons is also fantastic in faction wars, so he can definitely be a gigantic help to you there. If you were interested on what type of masteries to use on Warlord in a dungeon scenario, I would probably stick with the same arena tree that I have here. Clan Boss, obviously that would be different. That would be taking War Master if you want information on that. I do have a mastery guide that shows you how to mastery every single champion in this game based on the type of champion that they are. One common question people might have when looking at this video and looking at my Warlord stats is, what's the point of stacking resistance, accuracy, especially with a champion with block debuff? I'm actually going to be releasing a video after talking with Plarium, the devs, getting some information out. There's actually a lot to learn about resistance, how it works. There's actually a massive benefit to resistance compared to accuracy. As we can see, 348 resistance compared to 380 accuracy. I know a ton of people are running 600, 700 accuracy to try to make sure they're stripping any buffs. They're applying that defense down on the weekend, but the next video I'm going to release is actually going to be extremely important and vital for everyone to understand now that I finally got the details out of Plarium and confirmed it. So make sure you look for that video. I'm going to be releasing that video today along with this video. And the basic reasoning behind me running resistance, I pretty much do it on every single champion. Most champions who are speed teams try to go first. It's very hard to build high amounts of accuracy and also high amounts of speed. So if you can get a champion that's very quick, it's likely you're going to cut off any team focusing too heavily on accuracy, and giving your champion even 150 to 200 resistance if you are in the lower brackets of any type of content, whether it's arena or dungeons. You're giving yourself a significant boost against anyone that's not taking accuracy seriously enough and only focusing on speed. I'm sure everyone's noticed the gigantic difference when trying to fight an enemy with defense down and without defense down. The damage is pretty much night and day, so giving your team a solid buffer of resistance is a very smart move when going forward in pretty much any content besides the clan boss. Alright guys, that is it for my video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Warlord. Where will you be using him in the content? Whether it's progression or endgame arena farming, clan boss, I'm interested. Let me know. Don't forget, if you like this content, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss this next video on how big resistance actually is in this game, and I will see you all in that upload.